Hey everyone, it's Will, GamerDad, with another video for you. So again, we do have a new update as of now, and so make sure you do reset your game and load it. It is an in-game app, so it is not in the App Store or Play Store. Now that being said, in tonight's episode of Should You Summon, we're going to cover the newest banners that are released with the final chapter or Chapter 7 of the Future Mythos. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So first of all, we'll just cover a couple of the paid banners quickly. The Encounter Suzette and Encounter Premaya are going to be the same thing, which is basically you do a 10 pull with 1,000 paid stones, or you can use the Heavens ticket. Note that they guarantee Suzette normal style as a 5-star on the 10th pull, and on pulls 1 to 9, you do have access to every other 5-star in the game, albeit at very low chances. In the case of the newest unit, Lucifer, which is ES Suzette, it is 0.02, and the rest of them you can see the 4.5s and 5s are about 0.02 to 0.04 effectively. So, you know, it's going to be a standard, almost like a regular Faithful where nothing is boosted until the 10th one, in which case you do have boosted rates of guaranteed Suzette. And Premaya is going to be the same thing. 0 to 1 to 9 is going to be the 0.02 to 0.04 for the 5-star, and then the 10th pull is going to be the guaranteed Premaya normal style. Obviously there's going to be bots, Rainbow Sisters, and Knights, and I would say the value of these two banners are, I'll say, minor to moderate at best. Now the good thing is, if you're looking for any form of Suzette or any form of Premaya, this is a great way of adding it. It guarantees it, and keep in mind that unless you don't burn any keys or do any dungeons, even if you summon and get normal style Suzette, you will have access to all the different versions of Suzette. There is, normal style, which is obviously very, very powerful with the True Manifest. There is the new extra style. There is the AS, which has not had a manifest. And of course, for those who have completed or done a bunch of Future Mythos, you may know that Suzette does have an alter form as well, in which case you can side grade that way. Now, same with Premaya. Premaya currently does not have an AS form. However, again, for those who've done the Future Mythos, she does have an alter form as well, in which case by using paid stones to guarantee one form of these, then you could eventually grind out the required materials to side grade. Now, the downside is because you have to actually use materials, and the drops are relatively rare, especially opuses if you're going for alter styles. This isn't an efficient way of getting those units. However, if you just need some exposure because you have no form of any of them, both banners are not bad. And if I had to only pick one, I will of course pick my waifu Suzette. Not just because she's my waifu, but really she is extremely powerful, and essentially all the different forms of Suzette are quite good in its own right. Now for those who just want to focus on Lucifer, aka ES Suzette, we do have this banner here, which is a 3 times max Faithful. Again, paid stones only, so free to play. Sorry guys, you don't have any chance to get her in this banner. So 1,000 paid stones, 3 times max. Note that the 0.05 on the 4.5 is just not uprated. However, the 5-star is uprated to 0.8% and 10% on the last pull. And note that the other forms are also not really uprated. Same thing as the other types of paid banners. All other 5-stars are available up to this banner, including Flamelopus, altars, and so on and so forth. You can see all the red clad and so on and so forth. And bots, Rainbow Sisters, and Knights. And of course, for those who are free to play, there is a regular banner as well. Keep in mind that this banner is actually split with normal style Suzette, and so this is actually not a bad banner if you're looking for any form of Suzette, keeping in mind that even the normal style is rated up 0.4% on the 4.5, 0.8 on the 5-star normal, 0.8% on the ES as well. So not bad at all, even for the free banner for any form of Suzette. Now, to expand on what I said yesterday, ES Suzette is of course our newest Blunt Zone setter. She doesn't have any end of turn boosts like say Yifa or AS Myunfa, but she has some unique mechanics. First of all, she is an ES unit, so she does have an EX finisher if you have that green bar all filled up. And apparently she has a passive skill where if she starts in the front line or is in the front line and you activate the EF, you're able to increase her EX level by 2. Now, not 100% sure what that means. However, what I take it to mean is, remember that EX moves can only be unlocked or used when you have a full AF bar. If you play your cards right, you can probably get a full bar if you start with a half bar by turn 3, after which if you activate an EF normally with an EX team, on an EX unit on a team, you may not get your EX finisher. However, I'm imagining that the fact that she starts with higher levels makes it such that a turn 3 EX finisher is quite possible for her. Now let me know in the comments below if I'm incorrect on that assumption. But that being said, when she does do her EX move, it's extremely powerful. It does maximum HP of herself, ES Suzette plus 5,000, and it heals full HP MP for the whole team, and she increases power and speed for your whole team by double. 100% extra for 5 turns. So again, if you haven't won by the AF at turn 3, then by turn 4s and on, everyone's going to be double powered and speed up such that you're pretty much going to win the game if the enemies are weak to blunt, or in this case fire, because ES Suzette is a fire blunt user. She is a hammer user, as you can clearly see from her twin hammers. She has some fire synergy in that she can actually give a fire type boost in terms of fire type attack up to 60% in any stance, which is actually not too bad. She also does have a dual debuff power and int 30% down, and if you use that particular move within the first 3 turns, you also get MP consumption down 70 and physical resistance of all party members up 50%. So obviously this dual debuff with shielding is more effective in the first few turns. However, the fact that it's non-conditional, that is, you just get straight 30% dual debuff for 3 turns at any point in the fight, even later on, is still quite invaluable. Not only that, although, like I said, she doesn't have that end of turn boost as a blunt zone setter, you're probably not going to be using her nearly as much as a VCing in for blunt zone. You can, I guess, but it'll be kind of like Eva, where you see Eva being able to establish magic zone, but really, you start her in the front line, and she's used primarily as a main line blunt fire DPS, and she does a very good job in not only doing a ton of DPS, she can also support other blunt units as well. She has this unique mechanic that if she casts her setup move, it not only hits fire blunt on a single enemy times 4 XL, it applies a unique buff that gives multi-hit skills increased damage with each next hit up to 5 hits, in which case you'll get a massive boost overall. So the more hits your unit can do with their multi-hits, the more beneficial this kind of boost will be. And the fact that it caps out at 5, you can obviously think that she's going to be used on the blunt team with other blunt type units. Tsubame has a 5-hit combo. You have a Grasta that can give a 5-hit blunt. She herself, ES Suzette, has her main DPS as a 5 times XL AoE fire blunt attack. Obviously, that is very powerful, and her main DPS is dependent on the number of blunt units on your team. So you really need 4 plus herself, which is 5 to get the max. And so unfortunately, that means that she mainly is going to be your top line fire blunt unit on your blunt team DPS. If you put her on a mixed fire team with mainly elemental attacks, keep in mind that with each less hammer or blunt unit on that team, her main DPS move is going to be decreased. And so, you know, she is a specialty unit on a blunt team, and especially as a backup blunt zone setter. So, should you summon? Well, I'll put it this way. I guess the answer really depends on how your blunt team really is developed already, and if you feel that you really want to round out a blunt team. Keep in mind that her specialties are fire, blunt, and so if you have an existing fire team, and let's be honest, with free units, free slash team is probably more than adequate to handle any fire type DPS requirements. You got the Kid, Aldo, Crest, Surge, and blah, 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 blah. If you work a little bit harder, you can even get units like ASMU, and so on and so forth. And so Fire Slash is more than adequate for Fire type DPS. Now in terms of Blunt type DPS, again, depends on your team. If you've seen what is considered a pretty high-end Blunt team, you'll have the AS Tsubames, AS Melina, AS Miyunfa, Miyifa, and units such as AS Hardy, or for example AS Yuan, depending on your Fire DPS. And so if you are Fire blunt DPS is already quite high, that is, you have like the AS Hardys and AS Ewans, I would unfortunately argue that ES Suzette may not be that much better. And this is just my own opinion, of course. I haven't even used her yet, and so, you know, might be cloud playing a little bit here. But I do think that she is more of a niche type blunt unit. But that being said, I mean, the fact that she gives a unique buff to your other blunt zone team members is invaluable. Because remember, with most buffs, they do diminishing returns. That is, if you give 2 of the same buff, you kind of have a lesser effect with the second one. Her no end of turn boost is kind of made up for the fact that you can really give that extra boost with multi-hit attacks, and many of the blunt team does have multi-hit attacks, and so in that case, you know, she would be quite good. And not to mention, if the enemy is resistant or null to earth, your best blunt units, which is AS Miyufa and AS Tsubame, will probably be nullified. And keep in mind, currently on a blunt team, AS Tsubame is your dual debuffer, and her dual debuff only lasts 1 turn, so you kind of have to recast it every other turn. With Suzette's dual debuff, it doesn't hit, which is a downside. However, in the first few turns, she gives a shield of 50%, which helps you survive longer. And keep in mind, she can continue casting it every 3 turns, in which case the other 2 turns she'll either do the setup or she'll just do straight out DPS. Not to mention, her EX move finisher will really help your team do a lot of damage. So overall, I would recommend her as a nice way to round out your blunt team. I wouldn't consider her top of the line for just to round out fire DPS, because like I said, her main DPS does revolve around many other blunt units on the same team. That being said, as you know, I do have Suzette in normal style already, and so if you do have normal style Suzette as a free-to-play, highly advise you to only grind out the materials. Do not summon on this banner, because let's be honest, you have to keep your stones as a free-to-play in order to unlock new content, as in new complete units, instead of just summoning for other forms, being that you should be able to grind out any sort of form within 3 to 6 months. Now, if you're a paid player, of course, it's definitely up to you whether or not you want to get ES Suzette faster or just wait the few months and grind it out. So that is up to you. All right, so anyways, hopefully that gives you some idea of ES Suzette. I do think that she's awesome, and I really do like her EX finisher. Let me know in the comments below. I know a lot of you have already. What you think about ES Suzette, whether or not you agree or disagree with my comments, and whether or not you're planning to add her to your team now, or possibly in the future. Now, after this video, of course, I'll be grinding out final chapter and hopefully get some content out for you over the next couple of days. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.